ColourPop finally coming out of their flop era? Let's talk about it. Now, we may disagree whether or not ColourPop was in a flop era to begin with, but I have never been silent about my hit or miss feelings on the brand over the past few years. A couple years ago, I made a video about why I had pretty much stopped buying ColourPop makeup, and I was overwhelmed by how many comments there were agreeing with my frustrations with the brand. But recently, I've noticed that ColourPop has drastically pivoted their focus as far as what products they're releasing, what products they're re-releasing, and what products they are restocking. And they've kind of won me over. So today we're gonna talk about the changes I've noticed in the brand while I play with new ColourPop makeup for 2023, as well as some old favorites. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name is Miranda. Welcome to my channel where we talk all things budget beauty. If that sounds interesting to you, then become the newest member of the Slashed Squad by hitting subscribe and the bell icon. Starting out with primer, I actually don't have one from ColourPop right now. I'm gonna use the Moira Hydra Priming Setting Spray. This is a priming and setting spray. Used it in my last video where I shared a bunch of Moira products. Check it out because I was impressed. For foundation, I'm using the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation. Now, this is a product that had to really grow on me because I think the first 3 shades I bought did not match me at all. This foundation does tend to oxidize a little bit, so my perfect shade is Light 50W. And finally, when I found my match, I was like, oh, I actually really like this foundation. So on that note, I want to talk about how my thoughts and relationship with ColourPop has evolved over the years. And I did kind of cover this in my last rant video about ColourPop, but just as a refresher, I was like a die-hard ColourPop fan when they first launched in 2014. I stayed on top of their launches for years after that. And then I just kind of got bored / overwhelmed with the brand for a bit. I started feeling like their releases were kind of hit or miss or repetitive. As far as their collabs, nothing really spoke to me. So for a while, I just didn't really follow their releases that closely. And I'm gonna use their Pretty Fresh concealer in the same shade. And also just to point out, about half these products they sent to me and half of them I bought myself. Now, the reason why ColourPop has now sort of won me back is that I can see them really shifting away from focusing on their collaborations and their limited edition collections and returning to their roots and returning to what made them such a popular brand to begin with. And I am all about it. This one's a new product to me. This is their brow pencil in the shade Soft Black. I am growing out the black dye in my hair, so some of the brown is starting to return. I'm gonna have to play around with brow shades moving forward. So one of my biggest complaints about ColourPop was for several years, they really just pushed their limited edition collections and kind of let their core products fall to the wayside. A lot of people were complaining about how shades or products were not being restocked in favor of the limited edition products being restocked, if that even happened. Most of the time, the limited edition collections would go on sale and just sell out immediately, and then that was it. And also, just at the base level, when you're releasing so many like special collections at once, they kind of get less special the more you put out. And a lot of people were also noticing that there was a lot of repetition from collection to collection, and that in the end, it was really the packaging that was exciting and maybe not necessarily the product. And that's what I consider ColourPop's flop era. Maybe this went on from 2019 to 21. It seemed like every other week there was a new limited edition licensed collection, and I don't know, it was just overwhelming to me. But what I've noticed within the past year is something super exciting. Not only are they really kind of pushing more of their core collection products and their best sellers, but they're also reformulating and re-releasing old favorites from the brand. I'm just gonna quickly lock these brows down with the Physicians Formula Butter Brazilian Brow Lift Brow Gel. Such an annoyingly long name for such a great product. Honestly, my favorite brow gel at the drugstore right now. I also don't have a ColourPop eye primer, so I'm just gonna use my Milani one. So a couple videos ago, I ranked the best drugstore eyeshadow sticks, and in that video, I shared the new ColourPop shadow sticks. Now, these are a reformulation and a re-release of the old ColourPop color sticks. The old version, very hit or miss. Sometimes it would be patchy, sometimes it would wear away completely, and I found that all of my color sticks would dry out really quickly. So these are the new and improved versions. They definitely got it right this time, and you can watch that video for more of an in-depth view on these as well as swatches, but today I'm gonna be using one of their new eyeshadow palettes. So I just got this one in the mail, the ColourPop Smokin' Hot palette. Yeah. Oh, I love this color story. Definitely a lot of lighter, everyday, subtle options. You can get a very neutral eye with this, or you can go dark and sultry and smoky. Yes. I think I'm going to lay down Peach Margarita first. I mean, I've never had anything bad to say about ColourPop eyeshadows. I think it's one of the products they do best, except for the old color sticks. But their powder shadows, whether it's the pressed or the Super Shock shadows, those have always been my favorite from the brand. Now, on the subject of reformulation, and something that we're gonna look at a little bit later in this video, is that they just reformulated and re-released their Ultra Lip collection. This includes their Ultra Blotted Lip, their Ultra Glossy Lip, and of course, the Ultra Matte Lip, which is probably one of the products aside from the Super Shock shadows that really made a name for ColourPop. They were released in the height of matte liquid lipsticks, and they did them a lot better than what was on the market at the time and a lot cheaper. And I always loved the shades of the Ultra Matte Lip, and I love that flat matte look, but there was no escaping the fact that they were not comfortable and they were not flattering if you have lip lines that are semi-prominent. So very, very stoked to try the new version, which will be later in this video. I kinda wanna go into Up in Flames, sort of this brick red shade. Now, as I mentioned, they have recently put out some limited edition collections as well as restocked some. They just restocked the Winnie the Pooh collab, and then they released the Alice in Wonderland collab last month. I want to say it was in May. They're really not doing as heavy of a social media push as they used to with these types of collections. Now, as much as I'd love to think that ColourPop has switched up their focus because of all of the fans' input, I have a feeling that the reason why they're focusing more on permanent products is because of their new availability in Target as of the holiday season last year, as well as their expanded availability in Ulta Beauty. I've noticed that the ColourPop section at my local Ulta has dramatically grown. It started out as just a little end cap, and then, you know, after a couple years, it kind of wrapped around a little bit and there was a little bit of extra room, and now it's practically a whole aisle display. And I will say that every so often I do see one of their licensed collabs like Star Wars or Disney in Ulta Beauty, but most of the time it's the permanent products. And at Target, I don't think I've ever seen the limited edition launches. If you have, let me know in the comments. I think I'm gonna go into Fiery, which is this kind of pastel orange shade. Ooh, oh, I love. That's actually way more pigmented than I expected. So when they first launched at Target, which I did a video about their initial launch products, they had these Target exclusives like palettes and bundles of products as well as exclusive shades. And I put that in quotation marks because even though Target was the only store you could buy them in, like physically, you could still buy those products online at the ColourPop website. So it was kind of weird calling them a Target exclusive. And then after that initial holiday launch, which was really just an end cap, ColourPop started putting in best sellers at Target. Now, when a brand gets shelf space in a store like Target, you really have to make sure the products that you're putting on the shelf are kind of tried and true. It's a little bit different than a specialty store like Ulta Beauty, where the people who are going there are beauty lovers. They're into every release most of the time. With Target, you're kind of targeting more of an everyday shopper, and you want every single product on the shelf to be something that a regular consumer might be interested in. And with ColourPop, that definitely means more of their core products. And just my best guess is that they had to start manufacturing more of these like everyday products. And that's why in general, the brand has focused on promoting those more. And especially because they want to promote products that people can go to Target and buy, because now they're not just thinking about their customers who shop on their website. They're thinking of everybody who shops at Target. That's a lot of people. I want to go into gold dipped. I'm pretty sure this is a pressed glitter. We'll see how it looks. I'm just gonna sort of layer it on top of the orange a little bit. So that is just my hypothesis. I mean, whatever it was that made them decide to kind of return to focusing on their core collection, I really don't care. I'm just glad that it's happening. But I would love to hear your thoughts, because I really was surprised at how many people agreed with me in my last video. So I am using this brush to apply this gold dipped pressed glitter, and it applies more of a topper when you do that versus laying down a glitter glue or even using your fingers. But that's sort of what I want. I'm not trying to get this to be an opaque glitter layer. I just want a little bit of sparkle toward the inner corner here. And that's giving me the effect that I want. Now, something else to consider, and I'm actually really curious about what y'all think of this, so please share your thoughts in the comments. With the state of the economy, which is, a little crazy right now, cost of living a little high, price of necessities that we all need to live a little high, I wonder if there's just less of a demand or excitement over these limited edition collabs, because a lot of the time you're not really marketing things people need or would use every day. You're really just kind of tapping into a fandom and the crossover within the beauty community and hoping that someone is going to be excited about the theme. You know what I mean? Not necessarily like, that's a palette I will use every day and get a lot of bang for my buck. So I'm curious if people have, in general, more so stuck to products that they know they're gonna get a lot of use out of versus just kind of being persuaded by their favorite character being on a cover of a palette. There is a tiny bit of fallout, but not crazy. I'm just gonna finish off the look with Total Stunner. I'm gonna put that under my brow bone. There's not much more I can say about this shadow that you haven't already heard. The formula is great. Nothing has changed about this, but I do really love the shades in this palette. And not only do I think that this is perfect for summer, but a lot of these, especially in the more like smoky sections, can translate well into fall makeup. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. I feel like instead of these just really quick flash in the pan seasonal releases, they're being a little bit more thoughtful, giving us a little bit more bang for our buck. I mean, summer and fall for sure, but you can easily translate this into a year-round palette. Like even with the plums and purples in this palette, you can extend it into winter makeup. This next product became a favorite of mine just this year. This is their BFF Cream Gel Liner. I'm using the shade Brouhaha, which is a really nice dark brown. I'm going to use this to both tightline as well as add a little bit of a wing to the outer corner. So I just start by applying a little bit on the outer upper lash line, and then taking my Sigma E06 brush, I'm gonna blend that into a wing. I do feel like I'm getting a little bit more fallout in this area. I don't know how new this product is in general, but it's new to me. This is the ColourPop Level Up Lengthening Mascara. Ooh, cone-shaped wand. I don't really think I've heard anything much about this mascara, so really going in blind here. Okay, so far it's keeping my lashes incredibly separated. I like that. I'm getting a little bit of a wispy look. I like that too. This is building up really nicely. I feel like I just keep adding coats and no clumps to be seen. Okay, I'm really pushing it. I'm starting to get a little bit of kind of sticking together, but still keeping my lashes relatively separated. And look at this length. Before, after. I'm also really loving how pointed this wand is, because I'm able to grab all these baby lashes in my inner and outer corner, which enhances the effect so much. In my opinion, it kind of looks like I have individual false lashes on. That's how good I think this looks, but I promise you, I absolutely promise you I do not. As long as it performs well and it doesn't start to like smudge or flake, then this is gonna skyrocket towards the top of my favorite drugstore mascaras. Okay, so I just took like a 30-minute break from filming. I ran to my P.O. box because I got a notification that I had a new ColourPop package waiting for me. And whatever was in that package, I wanted in this video. And I'm really glad I went and grabbed it because now I have their new bronze sticks to share with you. This is the first time ever they've done bronze sticks. As you may know, they also have highlighter sticks called light sticks and blush sticks. It's kind of annoying, but you cannot tell from just the packaging what shades look like what. Okay, to avoid opening all of these, I'm gonna just look online and see which one I think would match me. Let's try Shell Beach. So let's just swatch this. Ooh, I'm worried this is a little too red toned. So this is Shell Beach. I'll just put that aside. I wanna open Manhattan Beach, which I believe is the darkest shade. Ooh, yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work if I try to blend it. Yeah, that's way too dark, but I am glad to see that they are offering deeper options. It literally goes from Shell Beach to Manhattan Beach. Does anyone else feel like that's a really huge jump between shades? I wanna try Laguna Beach, which might be a little light, but it looks like it might be on the cooler side as well. Actually, I might be able to use that to contour. I think that's what I wanna do. Hello. It's actually blending out relatively easily. I will give it that. It's definitely not too creamy or thick of a formula. Let's try it on the nose. Ooh, I like the stick shape for nose contour for sure. For my nose, I do prefer to just blend with my fingers, so let's see how it goes. Ooh, yeah, to the touch, it's incredibly soft. I said in my last video, I'm still learning the best way to contour my nose. I have a deviated septum, so I'm like trying to minimize that right here. And I feel like sometimes I try and then I just end up pronouncing it. Well, that was pretty easy to blend. Obviously, it was one of the more lighter shades, so I'm not getting a super dramatic, like, snatched contour, but I feel like it did blend well with my foundation. Nothing got patchy. I do kind of want to add the warmer shade though on the peripherals of my face. That one was Shell Beach, I believe. Yeah. I mean, technically, if you're doing a full face of makeup, you're using bronzer and contour as two different things for two different purposes. But I say all the time how much we've muddied the difference between the two. The other thing that a bronzer is good for is helping to blend your contour into the rest of your makeup. It kind of acts as a transition shade, so that makes that gradient into the shadow a little less harsh. Now I do have two of their blush sticks. These have been around for a while, although I have never tried them. So I have the shades Mini Me and Invite Only. Mini Me is like this Barbie pink, flamingo pink maybe? I don't know if that's gonna match what we've got going on the base today, and I'm not quite sure Invite Only will either, but this one's kind of a darker rosy shade. Maybe we can make that work. Okay. Really not applying a lot. It's not a dewy cream blush, but it definitely has a bit of radiance to it. Just adds a little bit more bounce into your skin. All right, let's talk about these new light sticks shades. We've got 3 brand new colors. Let's see what they look like. This one's probably too dark for me. This one is called Ignite. That would look beautiful on deeper skin tones. It's definitely got more of a golden undertone. Okay, this one is called Molten Hot. This one might, I think that one also might be too dark for me. This one's called Glazy. I think we have found one that will work for my skin tone. It is like a golden champagne. Oh, heck yes. It's funny because I really am not a huge fan of their Super Shock highlights. I feel like they apply more glitter than like a beaming highlight, which is my preference. This look is right up my alley. Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah, that's probably what I would love to see them reformulate next. Their Super Shock highlighters and their Super Shock blushes, because those are pretty stiff as well, and I never feel like they have enough pigment for me. But these, it's not super dewy, it's not super creamy or thick. It's a really good in-between. So I think even if you have oilier skin, these won't feel uncomfortable on you. Why don't I put a little bit on the inner corner? Cute. Ooh, that really just tied the eyes together. Okay, we've reached the part of the video that I've absolutely been the most excited about. Let's try these Ultra Lip formulas, or at least one. I really want to try the Ultra Matte Lip today because that was the one that I had the most love-hate relationship with. So these new and improved formulas have lip-loving ingredients: plum cockadoo, which is known to promote collagen, yuzu, which smooths the look of lip lines, that one I'm going to keep my eye out for, sweet cherry oil, which is rich in antioxidants, and Japanese sumac, which helps reduce feathering. I don't know if I ever had a problem with feathering, but good to know. Now these will be available in select shades at Ulta Beauty, and speaking of shades, they did keep around a handful of the original shades from the original formula in the matte and blotted lips, but the glossy lips are 12 all new shades. And on that note, they did send me the brand new Beeper, which was one of the first Ultra Matte lips I ever bought myself, and I had in the old formula. I think it might be too cool toned for this look. Let's swatch it. I don't know if it's gonna match. This one looks like it's gonna match more Tulum. I'm not sure if this is an OG shade. I don't remember a color called Tulum. Ooh, I like that. They definitely have that sweet scent. Okay, let's try it out. Ooh. Now my lips aren't chapped right now, but I've mentioned before, they're always dry. I live in the desert, it's hot outside, and I am definitely a lip balm junkie. Now, as far as this formula goes, the old one, as much as I loved the look, always made my lips feel like SpongeBob when he goes into Sandy's dome, just shriveled up and dry and crackly. Now, my first impression, the first thing that came to mind after applying this is that this does feel a little more flexible than I remember the original being. It's super lightweight, even though it has that sort of moussey whipped texture as you apply it, but I feel like the old formula made my lips feel tight as well as dry, and I'm not feeling the tightness. I also do agree with what they were saying as far as the lip line thing. I have pretty prominent lip lines, I would say, and some matte formulas just age my lips like crazy. Now this one, you can see my lip lines, but I don't think overall the look is as crackly as the old formula. If throughout the day the lipstick stays feeling exactly as it does now and it doesn't get any drier, then I think they will have achieved making a more comfortable formula. But the bottom line is it's a matte lipstick. It feels matte. If you don't like that feeling, you're not gonna like the lipstick still. But if you don't mind the matte feeling, you just don't want it to be uncomfortable, then this may be a good option to try or try again if you didn't really like the old ones. Wait, before we wrap up, let's do a transfer test. Well, I'm super happy about how this look turned out using both old favorites and new makeup from ColourPop. Have you tried any of the new releases? But what I'm most curious about is how you feel about the brand returning to its roots and the direction ColourPop is going. Tell me in the comments below. Today's shout out goes to Genevieve. Thanks for being a member of the Slashed Squad, and join me over in this video next where I share new makeup from Moira Beauty. They are a small brand that's gone viral on social media, and most of their products are cheaper than drugstore. I'll see you over there. Bye.